You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 22nd of December. INDI Alliance stages nationwide protest against suspension of 146 MPs. Pakistan extends deadline for election nominations. And Taliban permits Afghan girls to study in madrasas, says report. And now for all the details, leaders of opposition INDI Alliance on Friday staged a nationwide protest under the banner Save Democracy against the suspension of 146 MPs from the Parliament's winter session. The lawmakers were suspended for raising slogans demanding Home Minister Amit Shah's statement on the December 13 security breach incident. During the protest in Delhi's Jantar Mantar, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi accused the centre government of silencing crores of Indians by removing their representatives from the parliament and for unemployment, which he said eventually led to the parliament security breach.
ऑपोजिशन के नेता, ऑपोजिशन के कार्यकर्ता एक साथ खड़े हैं और आप बात समझिए, ये लड़ाई नफरत और मोहब्बत के बीच में लड़ाई है। जैसे मैंने कहा, नफरत के बाजार में हम मोहब्बत की दुकान खोल रहे हैं। जितनी आप नफरत फैलाओगे, जितना आप लोगों को धमकाओगे, डराओगे, उतना इंडिया अलायंस मोहब्बत फैलाएगा, भाईचारा फैलाएगा, एकता और इज्जत फैलाएगा।
Earlier on Thursday, after the conclusion of the 262nd session of the Rajya Sabha, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar said that he is pained to state that nearly 22 hours of the upper house were lost due to avoidable disruptions. The winter session ended a day ahead of schedule after the Lok Sabha gave nod to a bill on appointment and service conditions of election commissioners. At least 4 soldiers were killed in action and 3 others were reportedly injured on Thursday after terrorists ambushed army vehicles in Rajouri district of India's Jammu and Kashmir. According to army officials, the 2 vehicles were carrying troops to operational site to reinforce a joint operation against a group of terrorists in the area since last evening. The fire was immediately retaliated by security forces, the Indian Army said. Senior officials were on the site and a search operation was underway on Friday till the last reports came in. The attack was on Friday claimed by PAFF, a unit of Pakistan-based jaish-e-mohammed. Defense experts say the region has remained peaceful for past decade, but Pakistan-sponsored terrorism has increased in last few months to create unrest.
मुझे लगता है कि पाकिस्तान की तरफ से ये हर बार इस वक्त वो शायद सोचते होंगे कि वो अब कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे हैं घाटी के अंदर। तो अब जो साउथ कश्मीर में और ख़ासकर जब ये इलाका जो पिछले 15-20 साल से शांत रहा और अब अचानक एब्रोगेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 370 के बाद इस इलाके में हम कुछ अधिक हरकत देख रहे हैं। और
Pakistan on Friday extended the deadline for candidates to file nomination papers for a national election by 2 days, allowing extra time for former Prime Ministers Imran Khan and Nawaz Sharif to enter the race. In a statement, the Election Commission of Pakistan said the deadline for nomination has been extended till Sunday. However, the rest of schedule leading to polls on February 8 would remain unchanged. Khan and Sharif have said they would submit their nominations despite a ban on their participation due to court convictions. Both are awaiting relief from higher courts that would allow them to participate. Moving on, huge demonstrations have erupted in parts of Balochistan over the police crackdown on Baloch Long March protesters this week who wanted to enter Pakistan's capital Islamabad to denounce rights violations.
Massive protest erupted across Balochistan on Friday over crackdown by police this week against Long March protesters who were demonstrating against Baloch genocide on the outskirts of capital Islamabad. The crackdown has been widely condemned. Pakistan's caretaker government said on Thursday that the force was used to avoid a catastrophe. Police used water cannons, swung batons and arrested dozens of activists in an overnight crackdown to stop protesters from entering Islamabad to denounce the enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings in Balochistan. Activists have long claimed Baloch people have been targets of so-called military operations, ethnic stereotyping and abductions by the Pakistani state while it continues to exploit their natural resources. They blame Islamabad carries out such atrocities to instill fear and exert control over the Baloch people, who have been demanding independence from its occupation.
A Taliban official on Thursday said that Afghan girls of all ages are permitted to study in religious schools, which are traditionally boys only, reports have suggested. This came a day after UN Special Envoy Rosa Otunbayeva told the Security Council that they were receiving more and more anecdotal evidence that girls could study in Islamic schools, also called madrasas. The Taliban have been globally condemned for banning girls and women from education beyond 6th grade, including university. Although initially Taliban claimed to be lenient towards women's education, they soon reneged on their promises. Taliban employs a different interpretation of the centuries-old Sharia law, which includes public executions and flogging. Women's access to public parks has already been restricted, and they now require a male guardian for long-distance travel. Sri Lanka's consumer price inflation rate rose to 2.8% year-on-year in November from 1% in October, according to the Statistics Department. The data, which captures broader retail price inflation, is released with a lag of 21 days every month. Food prices fell 2.2% in November from 5.2% in October, while prices for non-food items surged 7.1% from 6.3%. Sri Lanka racked up record high inflation last year due to its worst financial crisis in decades, triggered by a plunge in foreign exchange reserves. Helped by a $2.9 billion IMF loan, inflation began to decline from June, but is likely to increase from January as Sri Lanka raises value-added tax to 18% to meet revenue targets set by IMF. And the 40-day-long period of harshest winter spell, known locally as the Chillai Kalan, began in India's Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday, with temperatures plummeting to sub-zero early in the morning in several areas. Most of the Kashmir Valley remains paralyzed during the period, with snow blocking roads and highways, and several water bodies, including the famous Dal Lake in Srinagar city, freeze. People who came out for a morning walk near the Dal Lake were seen wrapped up in layers of woolen clothes. The local residents every year diligently make arrangements to confront the formidable challenges and also store in food items in advance.
ये 40 दिनों का जो हार्श विंटर पीरियड होता है जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा सर्दी रहती है और इसमें हम अगर देखें तो जितनी भी वाटर बॉडीज़ वगैरह होती हैं वो मुंजमद हो जाती हैं और पिछले कुछ एक सालों से हम देख रहे हैं जो पुराने ज़माने में हुआ करता था कि डल झील जो है वो भी मुंजमद हो जाता है, यानी उस पर भी जो है आइस बन जाती है और कुछ जगहों पर हम देखते हैं बच्चे जो है खेलते नज़र भी आते हैं, लेकिन ठंड बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है जिसकी वजह से लोगों को मुश्किलात का भी सामना करना पड़ता है। जो हीटिंग गैजेट्स वगैरह है उनकी डिमांड भी बढ़ जाती है, कांगड़ी वगैरह है या हमारा रिवायती जो ड्रेस है फेरन जिसे हम कहते हैं उसकी डिमांड बढ़ जाती है।
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend.